Welcome back, tennis fans, to the channel. If you have been paying any attention to the tremors shaking the grounds of Paris over the last few days, you already know exactly why we are here today. The red clay of Roland Garros is a surface that demands blood, sweat, and absolute perfection. It is a historic battleground where champions are forged in the fire of grueling rallies, and where dreams are shattered by the unforgiving bounce of the ball. And right now, as we look at the women's draw unfolding in 2026, the entire sporting world is bracing for impact. The whole world smells war. We are staring down the barrel of a round 4 collision that absolutely no one could predict it would carry this much sheer, unadulterated electricity. In one corner, we have the apex predator of the WTA Tour, the world number 1, the Belarusian powerhouse who hits the ball harder than almost anyone in the history of the sport, Aryna Sabalenka. In the other corner, we have the pride of the Philippines, the 20-year-old rising phenomenon who has taken the tennis world by absolute storm this year, shattering records and expectations alike, Alexandra Eala. This is not just a tennis match anymore, ladies and gentlemen. This is a clash of generations, a clash of diametrically opposed playing styles, and a clash of absolute unbreakable wills. When you look at the landscape of this tournament, you see a wide-open field, but this specific matchup is the one circled in red ink on everyone's calendar. Why? Because the narratives colliding here are nothing short of cinematic. Aryna Sabalenka arrived in Paris with a massive target on her back. She is the undisputed queen of hard courts, but her relationship with the European red clay has been incredibly complicated this season. She suffered shocking early exits in Madrid and Rome, leaving analysts questioning her vulnerability. Yet, here she is in the second week of the French Open, looking to silence the doubters and claim the ultimate crown. She is a wounded tiger, and that makes her more dangerous than ever. Then you have Alex Eala. At just 20 years old, she has done the unthinkable. She broke into the WTA Top 50, currently sitting at a career-high ranking of 38, becoming the first player from the Philippines to achieve such a monumental milestone. But she didn't just come to Paris to be a participant. She came to be a conqueror, armed with a lethal left-handed game sculpted at the Rafael Nadal Academy in Mallorca. She has a heavy topspin, the relentless footwork, and the tactical genius of her legendary mentor. She is carrying the hopes, the dreams, and the roaring passion of an entire nation on her shoulders. And let me tell you, that Filipino crowd in the stand to court Philippe Chatrier is going to make Paris feel like a home game in Manila. The contrast is breathtaking. You have the raw, unbridled, thunderous power of Sabalenka against the surgical, strategic, Nadal-esque court craft of Eala. You have the established titan desperately trying to protect her throne against a fearless challenger who has absolutely nothing to lose and everything to gain. The tension in the air is thick enough to cut with a knife. Experts are divided. The fans are in a frenzy, and the stakes could not possibly be higher. A spot in the quarterfinals of a Grand Slam is on the line, but more than that, legacy is on the line. Sabalenka is fighting for her absolute supremacy, while Eala is fighting to announce to the universe that the future of women's tennis has officially arrived. So buckle up, grab your popcorn, settle in, and get ready, because we are about to dive incredibly deep into every single facet of this monumental showdown. We're going to break down the tactics, the psychology, the recent form, and the hidden variables that will decide who walks away victorious and who packs their bags. This is the ultimate breakdown of the match the whole world is waiting for. Alexandra Eala versus Aryna Sabalenka. Let's get into it to truly understand the gravity of this match. We have to start by dissecting the current state of Aryna Sabalenka. Being world number 1 is a privilege, but it is also a heavy, suffocating burden. Every time she steps onto the court, she is expected to completely obliterate her opponent. But the 2026 clay court swing has been a bizarre, turbulent journey for the Belarusian. We all know what she is capable of. We saw her immense power on display earlier this year. But clay is the great equalizer. It neutralizes pure pace and rewards patience, movement, and spin. Sabalenka's losses in the quarterfinals of Madrid to Hailey Baptiste and the round of 32 in Rome to Sorana Cîrstea were massive wake-up calls. Those defeats expose a vulnerability that her opponents have been frantically studying. When her first serve percentage drops, and when she is forced to hit 3, 4, or 5 extra balls in a rally, the frustration visibly mounts. Sabalenka plays a brand of first-strike tennis that relies on overwhelming force. She wants to dictate from the center of the baseline, push her opponent behind the advertising boards, and finish the point with a blistering winner. But the heavy, slow conditions of Paris, combined with the pressure of securing her legacy, have created cracks in her armor. However, we must never, ever underestimate a champion of her caliber. Getting to the fourth round means she has survived the early jitters. She has found her footing on the Parisian dirt. Her forehand remains one of the most terrifying weapons in the history of the WTA. When she finds her strike zone, there is simply no defense. The question heading into this match against Eala is not about Sabalenka's power. It is about her patience. Can she tolerate the grinding, grueling rallies that a clay court specialist will inevitably force upon her? Or will she pull the trigger too early and pile up the unforced errors? This match will be a supreme test of Sabalenka's mental fortitude. She knows she is a favorite on paper, but she also knows that the young Filipina across the net has the exact toolkit designed to drive a power player absolutely crazy. Now, let us turn our attention to the challenger, because the story of Alexandra Eala is nothing short of inspirational. We are witnessing the real-time evolution of a superstar. At 20 years old, Eala has transcended the label of a prospect and established herself as a genuine, terrifying threat to the elite. Reaching the top 50 was a historic moment for the Philippines, but Eala has made it abundantly clear that she is not satisfied with just breaking records. She wants to win Grand Slams. Her journey to this fourth-round encounter has been a masterclass in resilience and tactical maturity. Mentored by none other than the king of clay himself, Rafael Nadal, Eala plays a style of tennis that is tailor-made for Roland Garros. Being a left-hander is an incredible advantage in tennis, but Eala uses it with devastating precision. Her heavy, looping forehand, loaded with topspin, kicks up violently off the dirt. This shot is designed to push right-handed players out wide, opening up the court for a deadly down-the-line winner. What makes Eala so incredibly dangerous in this specific matchup is her court coverage and her tennis IQ. She is not going to try to out-hit Aryna Sabalenka. That would be a suicide mission. Instead, she is going to use Sabalenka's immense pace against her. Eala has a remarkable ability to absorb power and redirect it. She will look to construct points, use acute angles, and deploy the drop shot to drag Sabalenka out of her comfort zone at the baseline. Furthermore, Eala is riding a wave of emotional momentum that is impossible to quantify. The support she receives from the Filipino diaspora is legendary. Every time she hits a winner, the stadium erupts. That kind of energy can carry a player through moments of intense physical exhaustion. Eala steps onto the court not just believing she can win, but knowing that an entire country is hitting every single ball with her. When we break down the X's and O's of this matchup, it becomes a fascinating study in contrasting philosophies. The match will ultimately be decided by two key factors: the Sabalenka return game versus the Eala serve, and the battle for court positioning. Let's look at the serve. Eala does not possess a booming 120-mile-per-hour serve. Her delivery is crafty, relying on slice kick and precision placement. Sabalenka, on the other hand, is a predatory returner. She will step inside the baseline on Eala's second serve and look to hit a clean winner right off the bat. Eala has to be incredibly smart with her service locations. She must mix up the pace, use a lefty slice out wide on the ad court to stretch Sabalenka, and occasionally jam her with a body serve to prevent the Belarusian from taking a full, aggressive swing. If Eala's first serve percentage drops below 60%, Sabalenka will feast on returns, and the match could be over very quickly. Conversely, when Sabalenka is serving, the pressure shifts. Sabalenka's serve is a massive weapon, but has historically been prone to double faults when under extreme stress. Eala's primary goal on the return is simply to get the ball deep and neutral. She needs to force Sabalenka to hit an extra ball. If Eala can extend the rallies past 5 or 6 shots, the statistics heavily favor the Filipina. Eala's footwork allows her to run down balls that most players would give up on. By constantly retrieving and putting one more ball back in play, Eala will test Sabalenka's patience. The battle for court positioning will be fierce. Sabalenka wants to stand on the baseline and dictate. Eala wants to stand slightly behind the baseline, absorb the pace, and use heavy topspin to push Sabalenka backward. The player who controls the center of the court and dictates the depth of their shots will win this match. Watch for Eala's use of the drop shot. Sabalenka's lateral movement is solid, but her forward movement, coming into the net to retrieve a low, spinning ball, is an area of vulnerability. If Eala can drag Sabalenka forward and then pass her, it will completely disrupt the world number one's rhythm. Beyond the physical tactics, we must acknowledge the brutal psychological warfare that will unfold on Chatrier. Tennis is a sport played as much between the ears as it is between the lines. Aryna Sabalenka carries an intimidating aura. Her grunts, her intensity, her sheer physical presence. It is designed to make opponents feel small, to make them feel like they are standing in front of a freight train. Many players lose to Sabalenka in the locker room before the coin toss even happens. But Alex Eala is cut from a different cloth. Training at the Nadal Academy instills a specific type of mental toughness, a Spartan-like acceptance of suffering and a refusal to yield. Eala has shown time and time again that she is not easily intimidated. In fact, she seems to thrive under the bright lights when the odds are stacked against her. When Sabalenka hits a roaring winner, how will Eala react? Will she drop her head, or will she simply wipe her face with a towel, walk to the baseline, and prepare for the next point with icy calm? The psychological pressure on Sabalenka is also immense. She is expected to win. The media expects it, her team expects it, and she expects of herself. If she finds herself down a set, or if Eala manages to drag the match into a grueling third set, the demons of her past clay court struggles could easily resurface. Sabalenka has worked incredibly hard on her sports psychology, learning to breathe through the tension and reset her focus. But there is nothing quite like the pressure of a rising, fearless underdog who refuses to miss. The longer Eala stays in the match, the heavier Sabalenka's racket will feel. This is a classic David versus Goliath scenario, and we all know how that story can end if Goliath loses focus for even a second. As we wrap up this massive deep dive, we have to look at the massive implications this match carries for the entire landscape of women's tennis, regardless of who actually walks away with the victory. This round 4 clash is not just a battle for a spot in the quarterfinals. It is a profound statement about the future of the sport. If Aryna Sabalenka wins, it is a massive indication. It will silence the critics who doubted her clay court prowess in 2026. A victory over a highly skilled, red-hot clay specialist like Eala would prove that Sabalenka has the mental fortitude and the tactical adaptability to overcome her weaknesses. It would reestablish her absolute dominance as the world number one and send a chilling message to the rest of the draw. The queen is here, and she is not giving up her crown on the dirt. It would be a testament to her evolution as a complete tennis player, capable of winning ugly, grinding out tough points, and surviving the pressure cooker of Paris. But if Alexandra Eala pulls off the upset, if she stuns the world number one and advances to the quarterfinals, the shock waves will be felt around the globe. It would instantly become the defining moment of the 2026 season. For Eala, it would be the ultimate validation of her years of sacrifice, moving away from home, training relentlessly in Spain, and carrying the astronomical expectations of the Philippines. It would officially launch her into the stratosphere of global sports superstardom. More importantly, an Eala victory would represent a massive paradigm shift for Asian tennis, inspiring millions of young girls across the continent to pick up a racket and believe that they too can topple giants on the world's biggest stages. The beauty of this matchup lies in its absolute unpredictability. The irresistible force is meeting the immovable object. The power of Sabalenka colliding with the spirit and finesse of Eala is guaranteed to produce fireworks, drama, and moments that will be etched into Roland Garros history forever. We are about to witness athletic poetry in motion, a tactical chess match played at 100 miles per hour. Now, I want to hear from every single one of you. The comment section is officially open. Who do you have winning this absolute war? Do you think Sabalenka's sheer power will simply be too much for the young Filipina to handle? Or do you believe that Eala has a tactical genius, the heavy spin, and the fearless mindset to pull off the biggest upset of the tournament? Drop your score predictions. Let me know your thoughts on the tactical matchups we discussed, and tell me who you will be cheering for. If you enjoyed this incredibly deep breakdown, please smash that like button. It really helps out the channel. Make sure you hit subscribe and turn on those notification bells so you never miss an update, because we will be covering every single angle of Roland Garros as we head deeper into the second week. The tennis world is watching, the stage is set, and the clay is ready. Enjoy the match, everyone. I will see you in the next video.